I'm excited about the OnePlus 13, probably more than any OnePlus phone I've ever been excited about. Why is that? Well, it's out now. You can get it in certain markets, but it's not out in the US yet. We're waiting on the global launch. But one of the beautiful things about OnePlus is they always launch it in China first, so you get a glimpse of what you can expect. You can see the hardware, you can see all sorts of different things, and after having spent some time using the latest and greatest Asus Republic of Gaming 9 phone, which just came out yesterday, I've had some time with the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, and I think it's going to take the OnePlus 13 to the next level, even better than the OnePlus 12. And quietly, OnePlus has kind of filled the void that LG left over the last couple of years. They're still here. They're still fighting. You can get them on Best Buy store shelves and things like that. I've got a link in the description if you're interested in picking one up this holiday, because the OnePlus 12 is still a fantastic phone. And it's really interesting because now that we're getting into this 4 nanometer, 3 nanometer territory with these phones, we really are pushing the envelope of what the meaningful purpose of all this power and speed is. If, like, what can you do with it, right? But anyway, that's like a philosophical question. But it's going to be faster, better than ever, 6,000 milliamp battery. So not only does it have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, which is an upgrade over the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. It's got like 40% more power, 40% more power efficiency. It's got a huge boost. So the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3 is clocked at about 3.3 gigahertz. The Snapdragon 8 Elite, 4.3 gigahertz. So a whole gigahertz jump in speed whenever it comes to the clock speed. And it's also got a bigger battery. 6,000 milliamps is tremendous. I mean, we already had over a 5,000 milliamp battery, but going to a 6,000 milliamp battery, that really is going to challenge a lot of the other flagships, because what we've seen with Samsung and all these other phones, we've been stuck at 5,000 milliamps for the longest time, and they keep doing things like, oh, we'll go from square to rounded. We'll go from rounded to squared. We'll stack the cameras this way. Like, I've been asking for a bigger battery for a long time. OnePlus answered, but OnePlus is answering again, one-upping themselves and giving us a 6,000 milliamp battery. And hopefully Samsung follows along with that, because the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, 6,000 milliamp battery. We've already got OnePlus. They do great with Oxygen OS. It's an enjoyable version of Android to use, and it really, I think, will make for a great phone. I've already seen some other stuff. I've been following it, and it looks like it's a pretty darn good phone. So it'll be great when it comes here to the States. But here's the other kicker. It's always tremendously cheaper. And we saw prices go up basically across the board for a lot of phones this last year. Samsung, they took their Ultra up a notch, $100. You look at Google Pixel, they made their phones more expensive. And even OnePlus made the OnePlus 12 $100 more expensive. Well, I don't think we're going to see a price increase this time, but if they maintain that $799 price point, that's still $500 cheaper than the S24 Ultra is, and presumably the S25 Ultra. And I think that OnePlus has now really positioned themselves as like the value flagship option. They've re-entered that flagship killer territory because it's just so tremendously cheaper. We're not talking $100. We're not talking $200. The standard bearer for flagship phone for Android in the United States is the Samsung phone, the Ultra, at $1,299. If you take a look at the OnePlus 12, $799, $500 cheaper. Now, there is some stuff that's better with the Samsung phone. You get 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches. You don't get that with OnePlus. You get 4 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches with bi-monthly security updates. You get them every other month, and I've been telling them, please extend it to monthly. We need monthly updates so you can compete. People really pay attention to that stuff. Is it super, super important? Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it's not as important. But you want to make sure you're as up to date and as relevant on your software patches as you can be for security and data and all that good stuff. But I want them to go ahead and push that. If they could get to 5 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches, and monthly updates, I think that would be a real winner. I think people would really like that. But OnePlus has really listened. So we've got the IP69. So you're probably wondering, what's IP69? Because for the longest time, IP ratings have kind of escaped OnePlus phones. Well, IP69 has got IP6869. So when you look at those numbers, the first number, the 6, is for like the dust security, like for what it can protect against getting inside the phone. And IP6 is basically the best you're going to get in any phone. And then the 8 means that you can put your phone in the water submerged for like up to what, 1.5 meters for like half an hour or something like that. Well, IP69, or maybe it's an hour. Anyway, whatever. It's good. You can put it in the water for a while. IP69 is pressure resistant. So that means, I don't know if that means you can take it to a car wash and drop it on the ground and spray it with the pressurized car wash or pressure washer, as you will. But it's supposed to be protected against pressurized water getting into the phone. So IP69 is pretty cool. That's definitely not something we've seen in other phones or mainstream phones here in the US. So they really are bringing a couple of things. Plus, wireless charging is still there. People got mad about the whole wireless charging thing before. So wireless charging is still there, even like last year. Still 100-watt charging, which if you take a look at Samsung, they've been stuck in this 45-watt, 25-watt charging thing for the longest time. So IP6869, 6,000 milliamp battery, Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, and you get the super fast charging, super fast wireless charging at 50 watts too. So there's a lot that it brings to the table, and you get the Hasselblad cooperation going to the 5th year, 350 megapixel cameras on the back, and their cameras have been getting better and better and better to where they get closer and closer to Samsung and Google territory. So there's a lot to be excited about there, especially when you get it significantly cheaper. You take a look at the Pixel 9 Pro XL, $1099. You take a look even at the Pixel 9 Pro, which is a smaller version, $999. You take a look at the S24 Ultra, $1299. And then you take a look at the OnePlus 12, currently $799, which it's been on sale a lot recently for some really good deals. But the OnePlus 13, presumably, hopefully, will be the same price. And if it comes in at $799, I think it's going to be really primed for success and do a really good job, because a lot of people like the OnePlus brand. They like what it has to offer. And when you can get that value, not only can you get things that are better, but you get value on top of better. I think it's a perfect storm for a really fantastic phone and phone experience for folks. And that's why I'm excited about it, because I wish that Google would have kept their prices lower. And that's one of the things that I was really, really happy and supportive of Google when they first brought out the Pixel 6 lineup. It was significantly cheaper, and they were having good deals, and they were having some really good value in them. And I think it's still a good phone, and I think it's worth the amount of money, but it doesn't mean I want to pay that. I want to pay less. I want you to pay less. I think we should all have to pay less, right? Paying less is always better than paying more. I mean, I guess mostly, yeah, I think. I mean, I'm sure there's some instances where, like, well, sometimes you got to pay a little bit more to get more, but that's one of the things about OnePlus. You don't have to pay more to get more, and I'm excited about the OnePlus 13, and it'll be great whenever we can stack it up against the S25 series and all that stuff. And a lot of people are like, no, it doesn't compare against the Ultra. You compare it against the Plus model, and I really don't think that that's the way that it works. I know some people think that's the way it works, but I think that the OnePlus model is a better overall, more complete phone than what you get with like the S24 Plus in question. And the S24 Plus has made some good strides. I think it's a fantastic phone at $999. It's still $200 more expensive than this. And I think that the OnePlus phone offers a little bit more in certain areas. But here's the thing you get with Samsung still, DeX. Do you care about DeX? If you don't, maybe the OnePlus phone might be right for you. But the other thing is, when it comes to Samsung, of course, with the Ultra series, you get the S Pen. And I love the S Pen. I wish that OnePlus would come along and make even an aftermarket accessory that you could use with it. They have the stylo pencil that goes with their tablet. I don't know why no other phone will challenge Samsung on this, but I really feel like if some major phone, either from Motorola or from OnePlus or for Pixel, came out with a decent stylus you could use with the phone, it would really challenge the hierarchy when it comes to Samsung, and it would really make people second guess and question it, and also challenge Samsung to do better, do more, and to be more competitive, because they just don't have to. It's really hard for other brands with significantly smaller market share to compete with, yes, probably a more complete phone in certain areas. But here's the other thing. You know, they go bigger and better, quote unquote, with the 200 megapixel camera, but it just hasn't held up as well as a previous 108 megapixel or even some of the 50 megapixels. So I really think that Samsung has been kind of lazy here the last couple of years, and they've really been relying on things like numbers and market share, the S Pen and DeX, and really just haven't had to compete too much in the Android market. And it's companies like OnePlus, you see what Google has done with the Pixel 9, that I really think will challenge some of that status quo stuff. But in the meantime, It should be here soon. We're waiting on the OnePlus 13, already launched in China, which means hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe the next month or so, it'll be here globally. Cross our fingers. We don't have any dates yet. I haven't seen any rumors on it, but it's earlier than it was last year. So we'll see what happens, but those are the reasons why I'm excited for OnePlus, and I think that they're good phones, and I think it's going to be a really big next step with this Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. Even though the 8 Generation 3 is good, the 8 Elite is that much better, and it's been really impressive in this Asus phone that I've had. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, questions, go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. Let me know what you think, though. Do you think OnePlus is worth buying? Would you be more apt to buy a OnePlus phone if they would give monthly security patches, or do you think it's perfectly fine how it is, and you like, what do you like? Do you think that it's good that they offer better value, and they offer many of the same flagship components, and I don't know. What's your thoughts? What do you think about the OnePlus phones? So go to the questions. We'll talk about that. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you guys next time.